Everybody, this is Pensy Joe doing another car reviews again, and today I got my AUTOart 675LT. This is a really cool car, and without further ado, let's get started with this review. Alrighty, to get started, let's go to the box. This is a 1/18th scale model. This is product number 76046. This is a Mclaren 675LT in silica white. It does look like a little bit of gray, like a very light gray than white, but it's overall a really pretty color actually. It's just not like a pure like paper kind of white, you know. And the Mclaren 675LT is another one of those AUTOart models that I think is really nice if you want to start like your brand, you know, brand like build up. Kind of like, you know, the 570S is the base car that you would get if you were entering a McLaren or something as like a new buyer. Or same thing with Ferrari, you get like the California, even though, you know, McLaren doesn't have any front engine drive cars. So the 570S would be your base, and then you get your 650, and if you want a special 675LT, which is basically a more performance, you know, track kind of car. And then after that, you know, and same thing in between that, in between the 650 and the 570, it would be the 600LT, which I'm going to get that at some point. I do not know if it's going to be an AUTOart, though, because I don't know if AUTOart's going to make a white one themselves, and I'd rather get one at a discount price rather than, you know, pay full price like some of the other models are nowadays. And I don't want to buy like a Solito one, and not just because I don't like Solitos, because they don't have the color I want. I want the same white as the 570S, because basically my McLarens are all going to be like a white color for my collection in that. So yeah, let's open this box. I'm going to open the box and we'll look inside. If you want to skip the box portion, which is not going to be too long, I'll have a timestamp in the video right here. And you can skip to that where we actually get to the car. All right, I'll see you guys with the box. Alrighty, as I've already put it back in the box, I have it upside down. There's 4 screws right here. This arrow tells you where forward is, and this is where the screw holes will be for the car. And it tells you specifically what car it is. This is for this foam cradle. Opens like this. That's how it looks. Same with there. There's no extra like separate pieces or anything. It does come with a pick. That is this. This pick is to open doors and to open hoods and other parts of the car. So we'll use this to open the car. And yeah, the foam cradle, in my rating, it's pretty nice. There's 4 screws that really cement it in place, so it's not jangling around in there, which is good. And I haven't heard any bad things about the foam damaging the car or anything like that. This is similar to how in the model train world, this is where a lot of companies are having with their boxes to be made out of, especially Broadway Limited. For those who don't know and are just from the car community, Broadway Limited is is well known in the model train community for HO scale, which is 1/87th scale, which is a lot smaller than 1/18th scale. They do more so like they do a lot of steam engines and stuff, steam prototypes, and they do a good amount of early diesel prototypes for trains. So they use like a similar foam cradle system, similar to this. With their new packaging, they have just foam walls within the cardboard packaging, not a foam cradle like this. They used to have a black soft foam for their model trains, but they changed things up. Is it cheap? To some people it is. AUTOart has been doing this for a very long time with the foam. One of my first AUTOart cars is a 917K or long tail, or I think it's 917LH or something. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know all the variation names for 917s, but it's a fairly reliable foam casing. I think it's good. and it does the job for protecting the car, especially if you're storaging or if you're transporting. And if you put some weight on this, it's not going to smash through or something on that. So you can stack these on top or whatever. I wouldn't recommend sitting on it. Of course, who would sit on the box of their model car? That's stupid. But my point being is that it's rather sturdy and it will protect the car. So keep that in mind. Your model's pretty much safe. I ordered these again on eBay. Recently these McLaren cars, and there will be more to come. These came from pretty much across the country to where I live. So for all the shipping and all that stuff, even the box that they came in was rather protected with foam and whatnot. So usually just make sure you know who you're getting the sell from, and hopefully the seller knows how to pack their stuff safely. If you're getting something from like a company or whatever that's selling model cars online, generally they'll have it well protected when they ship it to you. So I don't really worry about it if it's brand new. But yeah, we'll put this box away and we'll go right into the car. Okay, this is a silica white Mclaren 675LT by AUTOart. And yeah, this car looks really nice. I really like how the 570S had the orange accents in the interior and in the wheels, but these are red, and I like that difference. Now there's gonna be another car that's coming that's gonna have blue accents. So if you know about AUTOart and their McLarens and stuff and their colors, and you might have an idea of what's gonna be the next car. Besides that, this is a really, really nice looking car. I wish AUTOart does the 650S. I'd like to get a 650S, and the 650S was pretty much like a facelift of the MP12. No, I'm sorry, I'm thinking wrong. MP412C. There we go. I corrected myself. I had to think for a second, and it's basically a facelift of the MP412C, the 650S. And to be honest, I like how they both look. I know AUTOart has made the MP412C. However, I can't find anything that's white and it's not overpriced because they haven't made them in a long time. So they're kind of a little bit, they're out there. They're on eBay, and I'm pretty sure you can find them in other places too. But they're a little bit high in price. They're definitely one of the signature series cars where they have a certificate and all that stuff. Personally, in my opinion, it doesn't really matter much to me. I know, shocker. I'm collecting cars. I don't really care. I mean, I just want to have them. I just like to get the cars that I like. I don't really care how rare it is or what the value of it is. Over time, what I care is, what do I like, and can I display them, and, are they functional? Like this. Look, the wheels roll. That's one of the things I do like. The front hood opens. We'll go to the front hood, and we'll put that down in there. Pop that open. Try and get this further in there. There we go. Hood's open. Now, the 570S had a fire extinguisher in the front. What's interesting enough, this car doesn't. But yeah, it's got a nice felt carpeted interior. It feels like similar to maybe like Alcantara, what you would think. This car might have had. To be honest, I don't know all the trim levels for McLarens and what their materials are. I just like to drive the cars, and I also like the look of them. Do I know everything about every single car? No. If you want to learn more about that stuff, you watch Shmi and other car guys like that do like real in-depth reviews of the real cars or talk about the cars in general. But those guys, they do what they do as a car journalist, and people who like to drive and even own the real cars as well. And this has a windshield wiper. It doesn't move, which is fine. You don't want a windshield wiper that flops around. I like these small, braces that come up with opening and closing of the trunk of the car. Other brands such as Maisto just have metal, thick arms, kind of like what you'd see in a regular production car. I really like this idea of this actuator system of just two joints moving together when the car opens and closes. But yeah, you can put some stuff in here if you want. You can get some like 1/18 scale baggage and stuff and put it in here as well. And just add some more life to your car and put it in a diorama. That's a great thing about AUTOart cars, is that they're great diorama cars. Also, you can do like a 1/18 scale in like small portion of a car dealership and just make it. It's basically a giant dollhouse, but you know, is it a dollhouse? That's up for you guys to decide. But yeah, we'll close the hood now. It's kind of stiff, which is good. I'm glad that it's got like some like stiffness to it, so that it doesn't just like flop up and down. And here's the McLaren logo badge right there, which looks nice. Now that I realize the paint does look a little bit, is actually metallic or a pearl color, since it's like a silica white, which is really nice. In the video, it does look more white than gray, but in real life, it's slightly gray. It depends on the lighting condition as well. It's definitely more gray than the 570S. Now, the carbon here it's got like this texturized plastic right here that's supposed to represent carbon fiber. And to me, it looks fine. I think it looks good. Maisto has the same sort of thing, and I think that the carbon fiber size is realistic on this in terms of the size of the fibers. Maistos are, I think, the fibers that they try to detail are a little bit bigger. Maisto's been doing carbon fiber recently, I think for a couple of years now, on their model cars, and it looks good for the price that they offer. It's pretty good. And they still make their cars die cast. This is a composite kind of plastic model. And to be honest, it's fine. I don't mind it. It's not die cast. It doesn't have to be heavy. I mean, it does feel kind of weighted anyways. There's definitely like a feel of die cast in interior wise somewhere. And you know, it's fine that it's not, in my opinion, die cast. However, that might play into like how much composite is now compared to die cast cars from the past. And you know that there can be differing opinions in that. I don't have a lot of the older AUTOart cars, so I can't really comment that much about how effective the pricing of composite cars now are compared to die-cast cars of the past. And some of the die-cast cars are still being made today. Now, keep in mind, Maisto cars are around, they're still around like $12 to like $30 or $40 now. I mean, some of them go up to close to 100, but that's like special edition, like limited Barago stuff. Which I don't have any, but I don't plan to buy every single model car in existence. So I just thought it'd be fun to to do this kind of stuff with cars that I enjoy and which ones I'm going to collect. So it's got a nice 675LT badge right here, which is really cool. And also, just like a lot of AUTOart cars, most of them should, and I believe all of them do. They have steering of the wheels. They don't turn a lot too much, and they kind of get stuck if they turn a little bit too far, which kind of sucks. They don't turn too deep. But it's not a huge issue, but you can't roll it that well, and it's almost like as if it's rubbing the wheel well, which is a shame. Yeah, it gets caught up a bit, but it's it's fine. It's just not the greatest thing. It's one of the small gripes I have with this car. It's still a nice model. I just don't like how it gets caught up on the wheel well. And I can't really see what's going on in the wheel well that's causing it, but I think it might have to do something with this door a bit. I'm going to see how I'm going to open this. Let me see if I can use the pick again. There we go. Use the pick. That opens up. But yeah, if we look in there, there's that armature that swings up. There's an armature in there. It's tough to see because it's plastic, but there you go. If you can see it right over there, that's the armature that swings up for the door. So that's probably why the car can't turn that well when that armature compresses down inside the wheel well in here. And I guess it's because of the complicated shape of the door. And here's the door card. door card is not the most detailed thing in the world, and obviously the buttons are not the most, they're not so fine that you can see that, outline of the car for the windows and all that stuff and whatnot for the buttons that are labeled in white. But, it's 1/18 scale. It's not a huge deal. But if they could do other details smaller, it would be nice. And here's the carpeted interior. Interior's carpeted right here, which is really nice. I like how smooth, how soft that is. There's more of the interior of the car. Definitely like all that stuff. Now, the red is only in the seats, as in these bucket seats, which they do look really nice. There's seat belts in there. And it's a shame that the light's not going all the way through. But I think if we go look right through here, you can definitely see that red in there and interior with the seat belt on that side. The steering wheel does turn, which is really nice, which is pretty cool. I love it when cars have more than just, the wheels turning, but the steering wheel turns. And they typically do. If the wheels turn, they also try to make sure that the steering wheel turns as well. So yeah, and there is that armature right here that goes up and down to help guide the door to go up and down. The way how these doors go up and down are not like Lamborghinis. They move out and up a lot, like aggressively. They're not like Lamborghini scissor doors. These are kind of like butterfly wing doors, rather than, scissor doors. Here's the driver's side of the car. Try and get some more light in there. Not really showing that well, isn't it? But everything in here is dark. The seat's gray, and the felt carpet's like a darker gray. And there's pedals in there that are painted, which are nice. And there's also it looks like a plate right here, like one of those manufacturer plates that tell you how many out of a certain number that you have. So that's pretty cool. And then the doors, they have magnets right here on each side. There's one magnet on each side that keeps the door closed, which is good enough. Here we go. Imagine just a nice thunk kind of sound when a door closes. Now this, you can use it with your finger if you want to. It's just held down by one magnet. That would go right around here. This is the magnet that would hold this down. This is the engine compartment. Now, obviously, just like in real life, oh yes, lots of plastic covering the engine. Well, in this case, it's carbon fiber. A lot of carbon fiber is covering this V8 engine, which I believe is twin-turboed, if I'm not mistaken, but I believe it's probably naturally aspirated. I don't know. It looks good. It is. Could there be more detail inside the engine compartment? Yeah, but remember, this is based off of the real car. And what's cool is that some of that actually has grill detail. Same with right here. Here's grill detail. You can see the exhaust piping in there. That's coming from the rear of the motor, which is pretty cool. And there's some right here, and on the other side as well. Some of this grill detail that's see-through, which is nice. And there's a rear view window right there as well. And then you got the mounting, the swing hinges for the engine cover. And there's also some grill detail on each side right here that's going on this incline right here. Those are also grill detail. But yeah, compared to the 570S, it's still a fairly well-detailed car. On the bright side, you don't have to take the engine cover off. But, yeah, it's just, it's interesting how in real life the cars are designed, and then it's translated to model form. But yeah, I really do love the carbon trim and the white color combo. I like that. And in carbon, I would say black. Carbon's almost like a black, but it's more like a brownish black mix. The carbon fiber. It's interesting. And sometimes it can be tan. You can change the color of the fibers too, but I really like the regular standard carbon. And then here's like the air scoops for each side. They look nice. They break up that light contrast. And those scoops really stick out on each side. It's really cool how this car looks. Now, the gas tank is not open. I could try and pick in there, but I like how it's more ingressed, the seam for the mold compared to the 570S. The 570S looks more lazily molded than this car. This car is definitely better molded. And there's one more thing that this car has. I mean, here you can also look at the back of the car. It says Mclaren 675LT, where the license plate would be, or in this case it would be a European license plate. And you got these really nice. I can't tell if they're metal, but these tailpipes are really nice. I really like the twin exhaust pipes right there. But what this car has over, the 570S, that's an extra feature, is the dynamic wing. This wing's really cool. It can go all the way up like this when it's in full braking, and there's the third brake light, just like on the real car. There's the brake lights and the turning signals, and you can pose this, which is really cool. I like it. And Maiso does this now too with their cars. And if you want into race mode, you can put it like that. That's how the race mode would be. And then when it goes into full braking, it would go raise up all the way like that. And then when a car is, at lower speeds, you would have it just like that, resting like that. I really like that. I really think that adds. I really like it when there's like stuff that you can adjust the wings, like stuff like this. And it's kind of stiff, so just be careful when you're playing with this thing. It is kind of stiff. And I like how it's a two-piece mold, so it's like, I guess the real car, it's like a two-piece or three-piece mold of how the wing is made, which is pretty cool. I like that. You also got some air ducts right here with the grill in front, pretty much like a grill, kind of like a screen on each side. I really like that, and you got this nice diffuser as well. It's kind of dark because, shadows. Lighting in real life is a lot different than lighting with the video camera, So I'm going to grab this car. I'm going to look at the other side. Underside, as you can see, is fairly flat. It says AUTOart. There's 118 Mclaren 675LT. Very flat. There's some screw points under here. There's also some screw points that hold down the car in the corners right here. The big holes right over there. There's where the doors open as part of the chassis. And then there's the diffuser, which is not, in my opinion, it doesn't look as aggressive as the 570S. And there we go. We got the front with the P1. I like how it has the P1 looking headlights. That's what I liked about this era of McLaren, is that the headlights themselves were the McLaren like boomerang logo. Same thing with the 570S. All right. So now I have both cars next to each other, and as you can see, the white on this McLaren looks different than this car. And what I really like about the McLaren design, when McLaren really started to build their brand back in the, I would say early 2010s, when they brought out the P1, they were updating the 650S, and they were, basically the MP4 12C was being updated to be the 650S, and then they made this car, the 570S, as an entry-level car. And I really like that the 570S is basically like a less serious baby version of the 650S, which has a more kind of squintier looking headlights and more pronounced to be the McLaren boomerang logo. Kind of like the P1, because the P1 pretty much has the same. I would say it's about the same size as the 650S's headlights. And there's the 570S with that. And the front bumpers are definitely different in design. Specifically, the 675LT's design is definitely pronounced to be different. And then the 570S had a little bit of difference as well. The windshields look similar. In terms of what is lower, I think both cars are around the same height. If not, the 570S is a little lower. But comparing the models, the paint job and the paint, I would say, in my opinion, is better on the 675LT, especially, the black, painting along the window line compared to the 570S. And I would say, in terms of functionality, which not all cars are, I'm not going to say that this has a lot more like stuff going on because it has like the dynamic arrow wing. The 570S did not have that. The 570S was just a standard entry level sports car. So this supercar, the 675LT, it's not going to just be better because it has more functional movable stuff. It's pretty much got the same opening doors, trunk, and removable engine cover as the 675LT. And in terms of details, they're pretty much rather the same. Obviously, I don't know why the 675LT does not have a. Well, I'm probably, what I think it's probably actually under the seat. I just couldn't see it, or it might be in the passenger wheel and the passenger footwell, rather than in the 570. I don't know. McLaren's interesting, but I really like how these two look together. And when I get more McLarens as they come, I'm going to be really happy, having them together, in positions, pose, pictures, and all that stuff. It's like building up, your way up and collecting cars in the real world, kind of. You start with your entry level in the brand, and if you want to get more invested, you buy more into the brand of what they have or whatever like that. I don't know. Personally, I'd like to, if I really like the band, I would invest more into the brand and what their projects are. So yeah, I'll move this car out of the way since it's not its review. If you want to see the 570S review, I recommend checking it out. I basically talk about the price of that car, and how that compares, and pretty much the same thing we're discussing here. And speaking of discussions. 675LT's price. How much did they get for this car? This car was pretty much the same price as the 570S. It's not a bad price range. It was $140. I got on eBay, and if you're going to buy a 675LT, I recommend buying it, as cheap as you can get, obviously, but I wouldn't pay more than like $150. It's not that really that expensive of a model car that you can get that's more specialized, like the 675LT, or with this amount of detail. Obviously, there's other cars that have great amount of detail and they cost a lot more. However, usually those cars do not have, again, they don't have opening doors, trunks, engine covers, or adjustable dynamic wings. And some people are going to say active aero. Yeah, active aero. There you go. I just thought of it right now. Active aero is the proper term, even though dynamic is active. Anyway, yeah, they don't have movable active aero, and then you can compare this to models made by Maisto. A couple of years ago, I have the McLaren, not the McLaren, the Lamborghini Centenario. That has an adjustable wing, and the Bugatti, they also have adjustable wing, and I think there's a couple other cars that have adjustable wings as well. It's just it really comes down to how much you want to spend for the car you like. Unfortunately, Maisto does not do McLaren, so you're not going to really see McLaren models from Maisto. But there are other companies that are starting to get into McLaren cars, and there's other companies other than AUTOart making highly detailed cars that still have the doors that all open up and stuff. And one of them's LCD, and a couple other companies. I can't name the top of my head, but I know LCD is one of them that has a 570S that I really like, but it's not really a 570S. It's a 600LT. And that one has all the doors that open too, and it looks pretty much almost just like the the AUTOart quality ones. So I'm thinking, do I want to get one of those? And that's for at a discount as well. So you know, you gotta. I recommend if you want to get, you know, AUTOart cars, go on eBay. Never buy from, you know, the store themselves, unless there's like some signature model that you absolutely have to buy in case they sell out and people try to sell them for like 1,400. It's ridiculous how expensive these cars are nowadays. These model cars. I mean, they don't do much. I mean, yeah, you can pose them and open doors and what stuff, but it's like, you know, at some point you got to ask, like, am I really spending this much money for a model car that, you know, you're not gonna really play with this? It's not really a toy, you guys. It's not a toy. It's more. It's got a lot of breakable parts. I mean, it doesn't look like it's very big. But, you know, the parts and the can be really breakable. You know, it doesn't look like it, but these mirrors are probably breakable. You know, these are not toys, and you can probably tear up the tires because of the hinge system in here. Sorry, my dog is barking. But, you know, to wrap this up, you know, what would I rate this model? I would rate this model same thing, but like the 570S, 8 out of 10. I know there's some, you know, Chinese, you know, other 118 scale car makers that have LED lights and stuff into the car for headlights, rear lights, maybe even cab lights or like running board lights and stuff like that. And I've seen people on YouTube do custom work on their cars to have workable, you know, working hazard lights, turning signals, and headlights and rear lights, and it's really, really cool. You can do that to your cars, but I wouldn't spend a lot of money for the car in the first place. Like, for example, the McLaren P1 you can buy right now for around $225 on eBay, which it's not too bad. It really isn't. It's not too bad to buy a McLaren P1 for $225 in 1/18 scale. Could you find it cheaper? It's possible. You just got to keep looking, though. But there's other people I've seen on eBay that are selling for like $300 or more dollars, and I'm like, where are you guys pulling these numbers from? When there's other people, you know, other diecast car, like, you know, retailers that are selling it for a lot cheaper at a greater discount. And it's the same thing in the model train community. It's pretty much the exact same thing. Never buy from the manufacturer. However, I haven't seen 1/18 scale auto manufacturers doing like a refurbster, which they most likely never do. But there are some not obsessions. There are some objections and, you know, and whatnot. So when it comes to model cars, you know, this being an 8 out of 10, right? It's a good model. I really like it. And if you want to get a 675LT, get it from AUTOart. I think it's a really nice car from AUTOart. I think it's really neat. It's very detailed. And for the price that I got for $440, if you can find these for like in the mid 100s, you know, like 150 or something like that, I'll be honest with you, it's a good deal. If you can get it for $100, great. You know, that's awesome, and even less, great. But if you don't want to spend that much money, and you're not really into like McLaren stuff, or if you're into McLaren, go to Solido. They have the fives. They don't have the 5. They have the 600LT, only in 2 colors currently, but they have the 600LT for like $70 or less. So, you know, it really depends on which brand, you know, name you really care about and how much money you want to spend and how much detail you want to spend on. And sometimes how much detail there is doesn't really matter. And it just pretty much the cap out price is AUTOart, like, well, not really AUTOart, but like some companies that are around $300. And then after that, I don't think the detail really changes that much. And some people will probably say, well, no. And to them, it's like, okay, well, sure, show me, you know. Will I ever buy it to see if that's true? No, because I don't want to spend I don't want to spend hundreds of dollars more for something I do not necessarily want. And I guess that's a way of me saying I don't really care what other people say, but that's not true. And you know, I'll obviously look as I do more of these reviews and look at the model cars. I'll definitely see what other model cars are, and so it's like BBR and all that stuff. I'll see how much detail they really have, and I compare them. You know, I look at them, and I've looked at them in the past, and I looked at them and looked at AUTOart's details, and to me, they do good enough. They don't really show too much of a difference. There are some and even the higher end ones have quality issues. You know, a lot of companies have quality issues because let's be real, most of these model cars are made in China, guys. You know, it is what it is. Same thing with model trains. You know, there's quality issues with every company. So, you know, at that point, it's how much do you want to pay, right? If you want a 675 LT, I recommend AUTOart. From my heart, I really like the 675 LT. I'm glad I have the 675 LT. I'm glad I have the 570S from AUTOart as well. I'd love to get the 600 LT from AUTOart as well and get the 600 LT for around the same price as my 570S. However, if AUTOart does not have a 600 LT, I will go to LCD if they do not make one in white, because LCD has a 600 LT in white. And it would be interesting to break up from these reviews and have some different models in these reviews. So yeah, without further ado, that's my review of the 675 LT. It's a really nice car for the value that you can get on eBay. I wouldn't pay much more than $150 or $60 for a 675 LT, because some of the prices you see on these websites, you know, especially from the manufacturer's websites, is absurd. It's definitely higher than what should be. But and then again, there's other things that we can't control that are happening out there, guys. Like, you know, we're pretty much heading into a recession. Whether some people deny it or not, you know, value of things are going up compared to how much we're getting paid. So it really comes down to what can you afford and what do you really want, and if you like the details or not, and the quality of the build. There's a lot of factors you have to take in consideration. But if you want to be simple-minded and want a 675, just buy it. Just buy the AUTOart one. And without further ado, thank you for watching. This is Pensy Joe signing out again on this car review, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye now.